share this? Yes. Oh, I should computer. Yes. Sorry. Okay, it's no problem. You can carry on. But,
So, okay, a few minutes to 9. I think we should start with the presentation. I hope the sound is clearly, you can understand me, even if I speak not so loud, but I think it works. We, Antje and me, would like to welcome you to our workshop called Making Use of Inspire Services, inspired by Open Data Hackathons. When we thought about a suitable subject for our workshop 5 months ago at the Inspire conference this year, it was Antje's idea to organize a hackathon based on Inspire data, a hackathon like usually the open data community organized. And we say, why should we do that based on Inspire data? It could be very interesting to show how it works, and we want to share our experiences from such a workshop we had in August. We want to share our experiences and the result at the Inspire conference. And so at the end of August, we started such an Inspire hackathon at Conterra, together with the guys from 52 North, from Code for Münster, and Conterra staff. And we think we have some impressive results in 4 hours. And now we want to show you the results and share the experiences from this workshop with you and discuss it. So let me have a brief view to the agenda. We will start with a short introduction. First, Antje and me, then Conterra, very short, and then you. Not in detail, but we want to know where you are from, and we will combine it with a little gymnastic exercise, but don't panic. It will be very funny, and it will be a nice game we play, but details later. Then Antje will explain the idea behind the Inspire Hackathon before we show you the results. The 2 apps we developed in the 4 hours of the day, and we will give you a view behind the scenes, what we have done, the technique we used, the technology we used, the Inspire services and data we use, and so on. And in the last 30 minutes, we plan a little group work. We plan to build some groups, and you have the chance to say us or to give us your ideas about innovative apps you want to build on Inspire data or interesting Inspire data. and you have the chance to present it here on stage, I think in a 3 minutes slot. And we finished our workshop, I think, with a discussion about the lessons learned. Okay, that is the content for the next 90 minutes. So, Antje, I think it's your turn. Please, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Antje Kühler. I work at Coursera starting from 1998. I work as a project manager mostly in projects to do with setting up special data infrastructures, often within an Inspire context.
Yes, thank you, Antje. And my name is Thomas Wojacek, also from Coursera. And I'm working since 7 years at Coursera as a project manager, also in the context of SDI and Inspire projects, setting up Inspire nodes, and so on. Now, very short overview about what Coursera is and Coursera does. Coursera is a leading provider of solutions for spatial data infrastructures in Europe, and also for Inspire infrastructure, Inspire solutions. It was founded in 1993 as a spin-off of the University of Münster and the Institute for Geoinformatics, with a headquarter in Münster, Germany, and since this year a small branch in Berlin. Is co-founder of the 52 North Initiative for Open Source Software in 2004 and member of the ESRI Deutschland group since 2006. We are platinum partner of Safe Software, and till now we are around about 120 employees. So now it's your turn to introduce. Oh, sorry. And but it's also a very exciting part for me because we want to play together a little game, and the game is Click That Hood. Click That Hood is a game based on open data, built by Code for America's 2013 Louisville Fellowship team during an open data hackathon. And the player is challenged to identify the polygon of a named neighborhood. In our case, it would be the European countries, but only a part of the European countries, a random part. And I would like to please you to raise your hand if I identify the country you are from, and Antje will have a look, and so we get an impression of who you are from in Europe. So I'm a little bit excited now because it's a stressed game because the time is important, but I trained the whole weekend and I hope it works. Okay, I have to give access to the applications. So I changed, the game gives me 20 random countries from Europe. It's not only the EU countries, also countries which are on the road to EU or not in the EU, but doesn't matter. I think we can start now. Okay, what's the first country? It's Estonia. Someone here from Estonia? And then I have to find Estonia. Estonia is here. Okay, the first one. Macedonia. Someone here from Macedonia? Also no. Okay, where's Macedonia? I think it could be here. Okay. Little, very small polygons. Spain. Someone here from Spain? I hope so. Okay, that's okay. I know where Spain is. And Slovakia. I think that has to be this one. Slovakia. Someone here from Slovakia? No. Okay, Slovenia. Slovenia is also a little country, south of Austria. Portugal. Someone here from Portugal? No one. And now France. Great. Italy. No one from Italy. And the name? Ireland. Oh, that's Iceland. Okay. Montenegro. Oh, where is it? That's very difficult. Albania, Montenegro, Bulgaria, Ireland. Someone here from Ireland? What was it? Moldova. Oh, that's very difficult. I think that could be this one, huh? Okay. Iceland. That's easy. Somebody from Iceland? No, also not. What is it? Denmark. Denmark is quite easy. Albania, it's much more difficult. Could this one? The Netherlands. Somebody from the Netherlands? Also not. Greece. Oh, it's a lot. 20 countries is a lot. Bosnia and Herzegovina. And Latvia is this one. And Norway, not an EU. So, okay. I think, yeah, you're from Norway? Okay, great, fine. So, Sweden, okay, what not in the random amount here. Okay, Sweden. And another country? Germany. Okay, sehr schön, auch jemand aus Deutschland. Okay, yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for playing that game. And I think now it's Antje's part to tell us the idea behind the Inspire Hackathon. Okay, Antje will close this application. Okay.
So all the practicing must have paid off, because this is actually, when you're trying this by yourself, it's quite difficult to find the different countries. Okay, I wanted to talk to you about the idea behind this hackathon that we did at Conterra. Generally, the idea behind a hackathon, or you might know it by the other terms such as Hack Day, Hackfest, or Codefest, is that it's a combination of words between hack and marathon. And hack, in this case, is used in the sense of exploratory programming. So this is an event where people come together to collaborate on software projects. So programmers meet to basically come together and learn to create something and to have fun. So this fun and educative aspect is very important here. And we wanted to do such a thing with a focus on Inspire, basically to use Inspire data to create something, because as a software company, Conterra usually is on the provider side. You know, we help our clients set up services, set up infrastructures, but we hardly ever use the data. So this is something we wanted to try. And so our Inspire Hackathon, for this we invited Conterra staff members and a group called Code for Münster for an Inspire Hackathon to see what happens when you just ask a group of developers to play around with Inspire data. Code for Münster is a regional group which is part of Code for Germany. This is an organization that is actually quite international. It's a group that you have in a lot of countries, also European countries. And the goal of the program is to promote developments in transparency, open data, and civic technology. So our focus was on Inspire in a local context for Münster, which is a city in Germany, where Conterra, the main location of Conterra is. And this local context was a bit different focus that you may be used to in your work, because that's often either national or international. So a cross-border context would also have been interesting if we had a more international setting. Yes, the hackathon took place on August 31st from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. in Münster, Germany. So we had roughly 4 to 5 hours. Well, it took us time to get going, and we had some breaks as well. So it was about 4 hours. During the hackathon, we had basically different phases of this event. The first phase was the pitch, which is where participants suggest ideas. This usually includes a problem statement then the solution they have in mind, and then the data and the skills needed to make it happen. And then this is discussed, and the participants form teams based on their interests and skills. So if, as a participant, if you're interested in a certain thing, you say, okay, this is something I want to take part in, you go to that group. Or, of course, bring your own idea and try to form a group yourself. So then the actual work on the project begins, and so you have about two to 3 hours for this, and it ends in a wrap-up session where the ideas and the results are presented and discussed. So before the hackathon, we needed to do some preparation to find ideas and data. This is a good idea before any hackathon, because for you to actually pitch an idea, you need to think about it a bit beforehand and probably do some research. So a small group of Conterra staff started with the brainstorming sessions a few weeks before the event. And then some volunteers from Conterra searched for inspired data to use in implementing these ideas, to see if these ideas would actually work and what data to use. And these are the ideas that we looked at. First one was air pollution. So in a local context, it would be quite interesting to find out what's actually polluting my neighborhood, what factories are there that are causing pollution. Oops. Okay. Another thing that was of interest also locally was ozone levels. Is it a health hazard to go outside today for exercise, for example? Another thing was also connected to health, bioweather forecasts. Is it advisable to go outside if you have asthma, rheumatism, allergies, and so on? Then we had as an idea something to do with demography and elections. Didn't really have an idea how to do it, but thought this would be interesting data to look at demography and also at data from elections, to see if there's if these somehow correlate. Another idea was a game like Click That Hood, the one that Thomas just showed us. And the sixth idea was traffic accidents, to find out where are basically hotspots of where accidents happen. And so this was the first round of just this brainstorming for ideas, and then we had a look at what Inspire data would actually support building an application around these ideas. And first one, for the pollution, we found a pollutant release transfer register, data called PRTR. This is of the Inspire Annex theme, production and industrial facilities. For the ozone levels, we found air quality data, which belongs to the Inspire theme, area management, regulation zones and reporting units, and environmental monitoring facilities. For the weather forecast, we found weather data from the German National Meteorological Society called DWD, and the annex theme is atmospheric conditions. Something to do with demography and elections, we found the census data. The last census in Germany was 2011. Also some open data on regional elections, and the Inspire theme is population distribution and demography. Click That Hood. For this idea, it would have been good to use data from administrative units for our state of North Rhine-Westphalia. And last but not least, traffic accidents. We had some open data on accidents. and this would have been good to combine with data from transferred networks. So these were our ideas that we prepared beforehand, and now let's come to the results. And when we pitched these ideas, when we met at the hackathon event and started talking about these ideas, we quickly decided that no one was really interested in the demography and elections, so that basically went away. And there were quite a few people interested in creating a game like Click That Hood. And for these other ideas, basically from these other ideas, another idea was created, and that was to combine information about basically hazards. And so we had, in the end, we had two teams that were formed. One was this team about the hazards, or that wanted to use data on hazards. And they created an application that provides you with excuses of why it's too dangerous to go outside. This is basically when you plan to spend a day in bed, then you can look at your app and say, oh no, today the ozone levels are too high, let's stay at home, that kind of thing. And the other group created an educational game. And we would now like to tell you more about these, what these teams accomplished. And I'll give back to Thomas with the app for good excuses.
Okay, thank you, Antje. Yes, the team I belong to it decided for the app with a good excuses. I think a wonderful idea, also for me. In our team, there were several people. At first, Mark and Tore, which are our open data experts, and they belong to the organization committee, as well as Antje, because they have much experiences in open data sessions. And they were also the moderator of these day. And Tore also was an expert for the design, the architecture, and for JavaScript development of this application. And they were added by Dennis and Clara, which were our FME experts for data transformation or for FME services and web app design. And Christina was our expert in ArcGIS and JavaScript development. And me, Thomas, I was responsible for the motivation of the team as a project manager and some logistics like drinks and food. We ate pizza these days and drank a little bit. Alcoholics and non-alcoholics too. And I was responsible too for data discovery, design, and to configure a little mapping application. That's what I can do as a project manager. Okay, I think it's a very funny idea. Please imagine it's Sunday, fantastic weather outside, 25 degrees centigrade, and my wife is asking me for a walk, but I absolutely don't want to go out because there is a very interesting football game on television, or it's a Formula 1 race, and I need very, very good excuses for that, and to say no. And that's the reason why I should use our app, and I need this app. It gives you some good excuses why it's not good, what's not a good idea to do any physical activities outside, because Antje told us the ozone value is too high, or today are health hazards for people with high blood pressure, asthma, rheumatism, or allergies. Or there are too many polluters facilities in the neighborhood that are currently polluting. So it seems to be funny, and it should make fun. It's a funny day for the developers and all the people at the hackathon. But I think the serious background and the challenge to do it with Inspire data becomes clear. So we started with a design in our team. This was the first step for our application. And we say we want to do a very simple smartphone application without a map. We want to use data sources like air quality data from the Federal Environmental Agency. It's a tongue breaker, so I said in German it's called UBA, Umweltbundesamt, so I call it UBA. It's much easier for me. Air quality data from UBA, bioweather data from the German weather service called DVD or DWD, okay, it's better. And the pollution from industrial facilities, also a data set from UBA. These are the data sets we want to use and we want to search for and get the data. And now we define the features of the application. It should be a location-based service so that we get current health relevant environmental data at our local position. And we want to interpret the answers, we want to interpret the values and want to definite comprehensible answers for the excuses. And last but not least, we want to give a link to a map app. Okay. And the technology we used is ArcGIS, FME server, and map apps. Okay, that's not really lightweighted, but the other group has much more lightweighted technologies, and Antje will tell us in a few minutes. So the goal of our Inspire hackathon, of our experiment was we want to use Inspire data or Inspire services, maybe enriched by additional open data. And our key topic was health relevant environmental data. And so some of us started researching in different Inspire metadata catalogs. So on the European level, the Inspire geoportal, or on a state level, we use the German geoportal for that, or on a national level and on a state level. And we have to search in with different user interfaces, with different search functionalities, and sometimes with different metadata content. And so this was one approach. And then another approach was that we prepare before the hackathon the Contera SDI solution. The Contera SDI solution, with this SDI solution, we are able to connect different Inspire catalogs to one application. And we use the CSW interface, so the discovery interfaces, and we connect it to one application so that we only use this one application with a smart search based on the metadata which were indexed, and so we have a very fast access to them. They were indexed, first harvested, the catalogs, and then indexed, so we have a very fast access to them. We can refine our results via faceted filters, have functionalities to add services, and also to download data. So we think all these Inspire use cases we need for researching data, viewing data, and download data in one application and not in several geoportals. It's only another approach. And with this application, we searched for the air quality data, especially the ozone values, the current ozone values of the day. We searched for pollution from facilities or current weather warnings. And we want to use view services, such like Inspire view services, or only WMS or ArcGIS services, and download service URLs like for atom feeds, WFS, or linked files, REST services, or only websites. Okay, to give you a short impression, I want to start a live presentation to show you what we have done. Okay. So I hope it works. The connection is okay. Okay, looks fine. This is our Conterra SDI solution. It's based on MapApps. MapApps is our configuration and development platform we use to develop focused apps. Oh, some errors, I hope it works. Some focused apps, and in addition to the standard MapApps features, we have some features here which are special for in the SDI context, such like load services dynamically, such like WMS or Inspire View services. We have a feature to change the projection system. You often use this if the service is not in the right projection. We have integrated a special metadata search here, in addition to the standard search like Gazetteer over the addresses and places or the postal codes. Here we got a special metadata search based on the indexed and harvested catalogs I told you before. And this is what I use here. And the first step is I want to look for the equality data we have harvested. Okay, I got a suggestion list here, and enter equality, and I get very fast. Oh, okay. And I get very fast the information about the metadata data sets. And I have the option to refine my search here by type. I have now discovered 6 data sets and 3 services. I know there are special terms. Some of them, 9 of them are Inspire identified. Okay, 7 of them are open data. And so I can refine my search. And I was interested in the 3 services I looked for. And the first data set I want to search for are the stations for the air quality data. The station where the air quality data, like the ozone value, is measured. And so I have to, I have a little menu here where I can directly add these service behind this data set to the map. I get these load service dialog here, and I can change the layers I want to load. Okay, I only need the environmental monitoring facilities, which are the stations, and have a view about the stations. And the next thing is that I can have a view to the details of the metadata set. Okay, it's away here. And I see all these Inspire compliant metadata in these subcategories, like the access, the distribution, the quality, and the metadata. And what I also see is a related metadata set here, and I know it's a data set, and I can navigate to this data set. Okay, and I see there are also other metadata sets related, like an atom feed, and I was interested in to look what the atom feed references. And the atom feed references all these air quality relevant data sets I want to use for my app. Okay, and now I can download these atom feeds, these data sets, like the stations, or also the single values, the single measurement values, as a data set, as a predefined data set. And this is a predefined data set download service from Inspire. Okay, another scenario is I was looking for the weather data. So I first have to delete my service with this layer tree. Okay, I say okay, good, it's clear. And now we have a service we haven't found in any metadata catalog. It was the service from the DVD. And so we know this service from our projects, and we integrated them directly to our load services dialog in the favorites bar. And I open this service, and I want to load the service. So very much layers here. So I deselect and look for the layer I was interested in, and this is the layer with a health hazard index, the weather forecast of today and tomorrow for Germany, and I will add them to the map. Okay, and what we see here is the actual weather forecast, or the actual bio-weather forecast for some German regions. And we have a legend here, so I can explain. Yellow is a less health hazard, and red is a high health hazard for people with high blood pressure or asthma or allergies. And for our application, we only used these Inspire View service because we can make a feature info to this service and get the values back and process those values in our FME server process. Okay, I think that's clear. And another example in the same way, I will skip now. These are the PRTR data and the pollutant data. We also search and discover in the same way with our application. Okay, so this is the way we got the data, and but we are not only searching for the data. We have done a lot of things in these 4 hours, and we have to create the app icons. We have to design the website template. We used a FlatFi template, free and flat responsive HTML5 template. It's ready to use, and so we can use it directly for our application. And we prepare data, the downloaded data with ArcMap and FME Desktop to process it, and set up ArcGIS for server map services. And finally, we set up the FME process and the FME server REST service to identify the relevant information at the requested position to generate the answer. I think that there are a lot of things we have done in these 4 hours with our FME experts and all other guys. So the result, how does it work? Very simple. That's the design. It's the first screen of this smartphone app. Okay, I will translate it. It's called "Damned, I don't want to get out." Okay, but why? What's the excuse? What happens at my location or at another location? So we choose our location as a local location, and so we get the answers. So the weather, the ozone value is definitely too high, so you can't go out, and the weather is not good for people with high blood pressure, and so it's better when you stay at home. But I don't think that convinced my wife. So you need another good answer. But unfortunately, the third option we want to develop, we can't develop the third option because we haven't enough time. But what we have done is that we configure a smartphone app with a map, where you can see the next polluters to your local position. And at the end, I will give a very short presentation of the app, and can give you the URL that you can try it out at your smartphone. It's not very fast, it's not optimized, but I think it's clear what the app should do. So behind the scenes, the architecture. Central component of our architecture is the FME server. The FME server, which produces the REST service our app uses, and the FME server process directly connected to the Inspire view servers of the buyer weather, and to the REST server, to the REST service from the UBR and the ozone values. And it's also directly connected to an ArcGIS for Server map service we prepared from the data we downloaded. In addition to that, these FME processes an SQLite database with the pollutant data we downloaded. So, air quality data, regarding the UBA air quality data, first let me tell you what we wanted to do, and then let me tell you what we have done. What we wanted to do is we wanted to download the AQD data streams for the stations and the validated Tsingyou values per hour via Inspire predefined dataset download service. That's what we have done. Okay, but now we want to set up an FME process, read these complex GML we got, find the next station, identify the current ozone value at the station, and produce the result. But the problem was, okay, the data were not current. They are from 2014, and we want to get the current ozone value, so that we use an alternative. We requested all AQD stations which are measuring the ozone values via a REST service, and save all stations with the current ozone value as a CSV file. That's the first step. Not very innovative. Then we prepare the station data with ArcMap, georeferencing the station from point data to area data, and set up an ArcGIS for Server map service. And this map service we consumed, and we set up the FME process to request the current air quality data by the station ID, and get the current value via the REST service, and everything is fine. With the DVD bioweather, it's quite similar. We request the bioweather Inspire view service, and get directly the impacts on hypertension, asthma, and rheumatism, passes the results, make a classification of the results, and a definition of comprehensible answers. And then we publish it in the same FME process. And the UBA pollutant data, we download it as an SQL DB and also as an SUGeo database. Inside the FME process, we read the PRTR SQLite DB and find industrial facilities within 10 kilometers. That was our plan, but I told you, unfortunately, we have not enough time to do it, so it's still missing. But we have done is that we created, or that we configured a linked app with this PRTR data. In this case, we use an European-wide data set for the polluters and integrate them into an app with very, very simple functionalities. You have the option to navigate by allocate me your current position, and you have the option to get a layer selection, a legend, and a feature info, and that's all. And this is the URL. I think you can test it. I can give you the URL at the end of the workshop because it's too long to enter it now directly. But let's have a short view to the application. Okay, first. Okay, that was not the right one. The configuration mode. This is directly the application, so you don't have to log in. Okay, that's not really a smartphone app. Okay, you can see it, and that's a desktop. That's the desktop version. but it is the same application, because when I change the form factor of this one, you see you have other menus here which you can use on a smartphone. It's definitely the same application we use here in MapApps, but you can use it as a smartphone. You have here you have the option to choose the map content over this menu, to choose different background maps, to get information about the layer inside, and you have a search here, and also you have a locate me button, and I try it. And so we have to navigate to Barcelona, I think. It takes a little time. I think here we are. And now we can see the next polluters to the Congress Center here, and I can get a feature info. Something like that, the Central Temique de Barcelona. I can't spell it. From Gas Natural, or you can get information. This is an CO2 polluter, and this is also a CO2 polluter here in the near neighborhood, and so on. And that's a very simple app we configured in around about 2 hours, and we want to link that app from our first application. Okay, that's what we have done in the 4 hours with a lot of fun in our team. And I have to switch back. We could say congratulations to the team. So we had a lot of fun, a little bit developing, socializing, drinking some Bionade or some beer, and it was a very, very funny and excellent day. Okay, Antje, now it's your turn.
And you know you deal with geo-geeks if they say, oh yes, connecting to or using CSWs and downloading stuff from item feeds is fun. But we actually did have fun. Okay, I want to tell you about the results of the second group, the group that wanted to create a game. It's called GeoQuiz, and it's an educational game to study geography. And this team consisted of 5 Code for Münster developers, 1 web and mobile developer from Conterra, 1 Conterra FME expert, Sören, who's also here at the conference, and 1 Conterra project manager, myself. And we quickly developed a new idea for a game, so we didn't do that click that hood game that Thomas showed you earlier, because it would have been too easy to implement. But seriously, we had the data. We wanted to use administrative boundaries for this, but it would have been very easy to implement, because you would have only had to download the data, bring it into a JSON format, and because the game is already implemented in a way that you just have to add more data. So we quickly developed a new idea here. And the new idea was, and the idea we implemented was also an educational game to study geography, where the player is prompted to locate a place on a map. So it says, for example, where's Barcelona? You don't have any boundaries or anything in it, just the aerial map. Click on the map, and then it is calculated what the distance to the correct location in relation to where you clicked is. And this result is displayed, and then the player can play until the distance adds up to 1,000 kilometers, which is usually quite quickly. For this, as I said, we developed a new idea, so we also needed new data to use. In this case, we needed places for the players to locate, and we decided that Inspire Geographical Names would be a good place to start there. And so we used the Inspire Geoportal to search for geographical names in German, which narrows down the results, and then put a filter on origin also for Germany, because we wanted to do this for Germany. And we found an Inspire download service, WFS, for all of Germany, which is actually a pretty good result, because often when searching for data for Germany, you have the situation that you get lots and lots and lots of different data sets or services because of our federal system. So it's usually quite difficult to get a hold of a data source that covers all of Germany. I think this is special because of our federal system. So we found some suitable data from the German Federal Agency for Cartography, BKG. Had a look at the metadata, found out, yes, it's current, it also covers the things we're interested in. We had a look at the license, and the license here, it's actually quite handy. It's both in German and in English. There's a link. Had a look at the data, and yes, we were also able to use it in the way we wanted to use it, because we did manipulate the data a bit. Yes, we used data from geographical names, the official data, and instead of using the WFS, we used a point shape, which we could also download. We could have, of course, used the WFS, but we didn't, because it just seemed the easier way just to download the data and use that. We used FME to transform the data. Because for the application that we built, we decided we wanted to use GeoJSON as a format to get the data into the application. And so the point shape had quite a few features of the different types, such as cities, airports, islands, all sorts of things that you would have in a geographical names data set. And we needed these basically split up for the different feature types. So we created a GeoJSON file for cities, another one for islands, and you could have done this for lots more themes. So for our GeoQuiz, the technology is GeoJSON, a format for encoding geographic data source structures, which is open source. The data was transformed with FME Desktop. Then we use Leaflet, the open source JavaScript library for interactive maps. Then we added something called Esri Leaflet to this, which is a set of tools for using ArcGIS services with Leaflet. And we used an ArcGIS base map, which is freely available. You might wonder why we didn't use an Inspire service as a background service. This also has to do, again, with the German federal system. We could have found lots of WMS or WMTS to use as base maps, but we wanted to cover all of Germany, and there is such a base map as a WMTS available, but it's not free. So this is why we use the Esri base map. Okay, so let me quickly demo the results. This, of course, yes, please keep in mind we developed this in 4 hours with a group of developers. Some of them had never worked with geographic data before, and I was really impressed how quickly they basically had this up and running. They had it up and running, I think, in about 1.5 hours, and then we just did some fine-tuning afterwards. So get a free German lesson here as well, because the interface is in German. Sorry about that. So I get to first choose the feature type that I want to guess. I'm going to guess islands, and now it says guess your city. Wo liegt Baltrum? Where's the island called Baltrum? And now I click. I actually have no idea. Say yes, okay. Wasn't that bad. 40 kilometers off. So Now I say next question. It asks me, where is Mövenberg? No idea. Give it a click. Okay. 70 kilometers off. So it goes on like this. I'm actually doing pretty good here. Do another click. Now I'm off because this is actually the difficult thing. I would have thought, okay, I'm guessing islands in Germany can't be too difficult because we only have, we have two coasts basically, but this is also islands in rivers and in lakes. So I can go on until I have missed a total of 1,000 kilometers. I'll just give it a click here to see this end, and now it says game over. You answered 4 questions, and the goal would be to get better at this and to answer 10 questions until I reach this limit. Yes, so this is the end of the demo. You can also look at the code, which is on GitHub, and the guys from Code for Münster might actually look at this again when they find time and make it nicer or add more data, that kind of thing. But the main idea, of course, was to play with the data, to try out new technology. My colleague Milad was quite interested in using Leaflet, which is why we used that. So it was a good chance for them to actually try out something new and work with it. Okay, so let's come to the lessons learned from our Inspire Hackathon. We came to these conclusions, which of course are very subjective. First of all, I think everyone participating was really impressed with the results, and especially because we had 2 very different approaches. You might have noticed that what Thomas showed with the excuses team, they used very powerful technology, FME server, ArcGIS server, and they created quite a complex solution within a very, very short time. And the other team, the GeoQuiz team, used open source frameworks and our own server-side technology. And we also came to the results that we were looking for. So this was quite impressive, I think. I think we proved that Inspire data is useful even at a local level. So it's not just on a European level or on a national level. And especially because we got the impression that a lot of data is now available that probably wouldn't be available without Inspire. So the Inspire process, I think it prompted a lot of data providers to publish their data, to describe it, and to make it available for everyone. Having said that, it was surprisingly time-consuming to find suitable data. This is something might sound a bit naive, but actually Thomas and I thought that if you know about the annex themes, for example, you know where to look, that it would be basically faster to find suitable data. Another thing we noticed that it was difficult to find current data, especially daily updated measurements. Thomas described this with the ozone data. There was Inspire data available, but it was a few years old. And by the same data provider, there was also data available that was up to date on a daily basis, I think. So this is, of course, not something that Inspire aims at, to have up-to-date or daily updated data, but it's something that is important to keep in mind, but that there may be other, possibly better data available. Yes, we noticed, this is also not not really news, but the Inspire data usually needs to be processed for further use. So you need to use ETL software like FME to get it into the formats or you need to get the information out that you need. We also come to the conclusion that if there's alternative data sources available, such as REST services or shapes or Excel or CSV data, which is often available within the open data community, that this is easier to use than using the Inspire data and the Inspire data models. Yes, having said this, we had a lot of fun. I think we learned a lot, and we would be quite keen on trying this out on a European level, maybe at the next Inspire conference. I don't know, maybe someone feels motivated to start such an hackathon. Possibly, I mean, Conterra would be quite interested to help with the organization there. And yes, what we would now like to do is get your suggestions for use cases. Of course, we can't, with the rest of the time, we can't finish talking about while starting a real hackathon, but we could start the first phase, you know, the pitching phase maybe. So we would ask you to work in groups, take about 15 minutes of brainstorming for ideas to use, of what to use Inspire data for. I think this is a great setting because we're so international. So you could actually, if you have some cross-border project in mind that you've been thinking about professionally, or if there's something you find interesting on a personal level, you could just discuss this in a small group and try and find some support and some more ideas. I think just talking about these ideas gives you, it's quite inspiring. And then your idea could include, first the idea itself or a problem statement that you're interested in, then a possible solution, what data to use, and the skills needed to make it happen. And it doesn't have to be an application. You could also have, as a result, you could also have just simply a map or an analysis, just an answer to your question. So no programming required, I would say. But first of all, maybe I'd like to ask, do you have any questions about what we presented here? Yes?
Yes, my name is Carsten Wilhelm, I'm from the European Food Safety Authority.
Mm-hmm.
We organized last weekend our first hackathon. That's why I'm interested here.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is that we had this concrete problem of that the time is too short really in the day, because our idea was as well, we called it innovation prize, where there was money involved, and we wanted that people do something. In 4 hours to do something as explained with geographical data is a complex problem. Is there a kind of way you could think to keep the idea of a hackathon but somehow give more time, so the live coding versus preparation before? That is maybe the question I would have, yet no, it works, I would have for you.
Okay. Actually, the hackathons that my colleagues took part in, they're usually a bit longer, possibly 6 to 8 hours as well. So that would help you with this problem. And we actually had enough time, didn't we? I think,
yes, I think so.
The idea is okay, if you have a prize, this might be a bit different, but the idea is to just get started and to have something to show. And this could also be a PowerPoint presentation, basically, yeah? You could say, yeah. So it doesn't need to be perfect. You might have noticed that that game wasn't perfect, of course. There was stuff missing, but that's fine, I think. So the idea is to learn, to have fun, and to have some kind of result. Yeah.
We also have some experiences from our open data hackathons in North Rhine-Westphalia. The last one was last week, one week before that. It was the IT Open Data Hackathon, and it took time from, I think, 9 a.m. to late in the evening, so that you have enough time to build an application, to design an application. But I think what you need is a very good preparation for that, and some use cases you offer to the open data, to the hackathon members. And that would be very, very important for that.
Can I just ask you something back? But you said it was, you had trouble with Chime at your hackathon, but I expect you still had great results, didn't you?
The question was there, we thought before that the time would be too short to do live coding.
Ah, okay.
So that the time would be too short to do live coding. Because as we had the innovation prize, we needed to specify before the results we wanted. That was, of course, the problem, because it was the idea to select on the day the winner. So we needed to describe a little bit the results we expected, and that's why we thought about it before. So it could not be completely open, because then there would be no base to give the prize, basically. So there was this question: should we ask, or should we expect and put in the requirements a concrete application, or only a design, or a PowerPoint presentation, as you said? That was the so we could not leave it completely open without any requirements.
Could you tell us something about the results?
Maybe we do that later. There's some more questions.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
Hello, everybody. My name is Torin. I'm from .NET. Very interesting presentation. I think I'm going to try that microphone. A very interesting presentation and brilliant use of the data with the game. So congratulations on that.
Thanks.
I was impressed by the architecture that you designed for the first hackathon, the one that you used the map for mobile. Was it did you do it before the hackathon, or did you do? It seems a lot of infrastructure, a lot of servers that needed to be installed. Did you do this on your own infrastructure, or you just had something assembled there on the spot?
So it's our job to do that as an SDI solution provider, and that's we handle all the day these tools, and we implemented the SDI infrastructures at several customers, and so we have many experts who handle these technologies all the day, and that's of course.
So you installed them right there in the hackathon? So
we use infrastructure at Contera, for the heavy-weighted part with the ArcGIS, the MME server, and we use the infrastructure we had at Contera for that.
So no installation.
It's no installation at times, but always prepared.
And just one mention, to make it easier to use WFS services, especially if you want to put them into JSON, JSON format, you should definitely check QGIS. There's a very interesting plugin called WFS 2.0, which downloads the data, transforms the data into a nice table that you can then use for Leaflet applications.
Okay. That actually wasn't the problem. We could have done this with FME desktop. The problem was more that this WFS had a lot of data. I think was close to 1 gigabyte, and so just pulling it from the service would have taken a lot of time. So this is why we didn't. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, that's not the case. So let's get started with forming some groups and the group work. So the idea is to just get together and brainstorm for ideas, what could be done. And my advice would be try to think out of this Inspire box. You know, don't think if it's possible. Just think about what's actually interesting. What's interesting, and then later look at what data could you use for it. Okay. I'll give you some
we have now 3 minutes.
And of course, maybe if you click on it, then you can get the detail about the map itself instead of colors. So that is in meat of that, meat of that, meat of that. So we produced a huge hierarchy of 5,000 different food classifications. And of course, we want to promote as well these kind of classifications. So how can we link that to our app? Basically by maybe one idea could be that we should maybe put some links, just very simple, to the website where if somebody's interested in the classification can just see the documentation on the food classification.
So, can we start the next pitch?
So we discussed several ideas, but then I realized that most of my ideas already exist. So we started to have another one, and we called it Find My Private Spot. Because, for instance, when you would like to go to the beach, you would like to be there alone. And if you go shopping, of course, you don't want to be there when it's a lot of people crowded. So it should be some kind of application when you can choose the area where you're going, and then to see the possibility to see how many people, because most people have the smartphone on them, and it would be possible to count the amount of people staying in different areas. The ideas that we understood that the ideas already exist is about, if I would like to go from Stockholm to Barcelona, I would like to have a great support in where to go, which metro to choose. Then I realized that your idea is a little bit advanced. So it's also about what kind of person I am traveling. So it's a good combination. Did we have another idea as well? Yes, it was about risk management, to see if there is a forest fire, for instance, to be able to see where will it go, depending on how the wind blows and such, so you can be ahead of the forest fire. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. another idea.
Yes, so we have cheated a little bit. We have prepared beforehand. So our idea is to combine and to consolidate actually something called the Citizens Observatories, which is a pioneering invention here in Europe, where you create an infrastructure for citizens to contribute with data. Now, so we have the idea that we make these data collected by citizens, integrated and become a part of the Inspire data as well. And one important part of that is something called volunteer geographical information. So we will combine the Citizens Observatories data with then volunteer geographical information and make them Inspire standard. And Karel here, he will say a little bit more about the idea how to do this.
Okay, so at first we would like to say that during all day our group will continue, and you are invited, yes, to join also our effort, because we will have 3 sessions after this about this, and we are offering the tools coming from 7 finishing project. For project which will start now, will join here. Some people will join us remotely. We will use some data where we, voluntary data transform into Inspire format, like Open Transport Map, which is coming from OpenStreetMap, but in Inspire Open Land Use, and a number of these tools. We will use the tools for sensors like SenseLog and other to develop mobile and other apps. So I think that will be good to join this and to work. And anybody who is interested today and tomorrow, you can work with us directly here on the conference.
Wow. So you're actually
You-
going to do this now?
Exactly now. Yeah, so you don't have to wait a year. You can join the fun already immediately. You're all welcome.
If some of your colleagues will be interested to work with us, we have online transmission, so anybody could join online our rooms and work with us also from homes.
Oh, thank you very much for pitching, and we'll be there.
Our idea was to find place to go to do speleology. So the first thing is to find good caves. We'll use cave maps and also cross-reference with meteorological conditions so we don't get flooded in the cave, for instance. We'll also cross... Okay. But you listened before, didn't you? I didn't have to repeat it. So we also could use the road maps to find where good routes to the caves, and cross-reference that with social networks to classify the kind of how people rate those caves, and also try to cross that with underground maps, since there's no GPS underground. And well, that's our idea.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. And the last one, last group.
Well, first of all, we're not SDI experts, so maybe the things we've thought about already exist, but we have 3 ideas which are very rough. The first one, some of us have observed that it is sometimes difficult to get the official cartography of different places in Europe in one place for things like transportation, for example. So base maps for different, so some sort of aggregation service for this kind of information would be nice. of course, it's a difficult problem, and I think you can tackle that on a hackathon, but like some sort of very rough sketch for transportation or a limited data set. Another one could be like for pollution data, to have an application. Some pollutants get accumulated in your body, and then they get correlated with certain diseases. And then having like an application where you tell where you live and how long have you been living there, and sort of returns what's your increased risk of suffering from some disease would be nice. And then the other one would be like an educational game for museums, tourist places in your neighborhood, something like that. But there are three very rough. We're just starting with SDIs. Okay, thank you.
So I think that was the last pitch. Thank you very, very much for presenting your ideas, and it was a very, very good pitching phase here from you. Very interesting ideas, and we have to thank you for being here. And please don't miss to visit us at our booth at the exhibition area at C2 at Conterra, and so we can continue our conversation. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for being here.
Just one last question. Do you think it would work to do a hackathon, do a real hackathon in, I don't know, maybe 2 workshop sessions next year? Would that be something you're interested in? I'm quite impressed in how much ideas you already developed in just 15 minutes just now, but what do you think? Would it work? Yeah. Yeah.
With the view I had on the subject in 10 minutes, I learned from colleagues which had or from people who have never worked in the area, it brought a complete different light on it. If that is the goal of the hackathon, I'm convinced it can be done. If it's time enough to develop, I'm a software developer, so I know how long things take. I'm not sure if that can be achieved, but generate ideas, yes.
There's a lot of logistics that needs to be
that's true.
ready before access, internet,
Ready yet.
power supply.
That's true. Okay. Well, thanks a lot again. Sorry. Thanks.